I just wanted to make a video. I don't know if this is going to be long or short. For any women out there that have had a miscarriage, or any partners of women that have had a miscarriage. Well, first let me talk to the partners. I know that you also lost a child, but you did not carry that child. And it is an immense loss for you, but it is even more immense for the person who is carrying the child. So they're going to need a lot of your love, attention, and patience, all of it. Do not be giving it to your parents and your brothers and your sisters and your job. Give it to your partner. Because not only did she lose something that she was growing inside of her and had hopes for, as did you, but now her hormones are going to be all over, because your hormones change to have the baby. And now when the baby is gone, they start to go back. But it's an insane process. Like, really, everybody's different. Everybody reacts differently, but they're hormonal changes. And like, I can't explain it because it's different for everyone. But, be there for your partner. Be there for the carrier. Like, literally, for no reason, just hold them. For no reason, kiss them on the forehead. Hold them. They need to be held now more than ever. They just lost something. They were growing inside of them. And you need the hug too, if if you're so attached as well. Like, just hold each other. Talk to each other. Talk about it. Let it out. Cry together, not apart. Let the intimacy be built between you and your partner. This is a very crucial and detrimental moment. It could make or break a couple. And the couple that goes through it together will stay together. The couple that goes through it apart, meaning the guy disassociates himself, deals with his feelings on his own, and then tries to be the rock for the girl, that relationship is going to fail. Okay, don't quote me on that. May or may not fail. Let me take that back. You need to build intimacy and get through this together so that you have the strength to try again, if that's your choice. But a woman who feels like she was abandoned in her time of need because the man couldn't cope or deal with his feelings and emotions and then distance himself from his partner, you figure that out. You come to your own conclusions with your own common sense. Go through it together. And you might have a girl that's like, stop touching me. Why you all over me? I hate those girls. Like, I don't need you to touch me. Blah, blah, blah. Why you crying? Like, I don't even know why you're with that girl, first of all. But okay. Maybe if you're accustomed to dating people like that, then you might want to distance yourself and do that. But if you have a very sensitive partner, and I'm assuming, which is you should never do, that at this time everybody's sensitive, you're going to want to give that person a lot of attention. Get them water, get them food, let them cry, let them feel everything, let them be angry, let them be sad. You should also allow yourself to have these feelings as well as a partner. It's difficult because it's when you lose someone that you've known your whole life, your entire life is changed because that person is missing. This person wasn't born yet, but it's the promise of what could happen once they appear. It's the hopes, the dreams, the visions that you had for them. And now that's not going to happen. It's the hopes and dreams of the next level of where your relationship was going. And now it's not going to happen. And I believe, my personal belief, if you go through it together, sometimes as a man, you just have to be quiet and just let her talk and let it out and blah, blah, blah. Sometimes, everybody is different. Your partner. Don't ever tell a woman to stop crying, ever. Never in any part of your relationship should you tell your woman, nor should a woman tell her man, stop crying. That is the most disrespectful thing you could do to not acknowledge your partner's feelings, to shame them for that, don't do that. Especially about this, because women will just cry out of no. You'll be sitting there, they'll see a commercial because they see a baby. Their best friend is pregnant. They're, like, it's a lot. And it could happen immediately after, and it could happen for years after. And the worst is if you have a miscarriage and it leaves you infertile, where you're unable to have children. That happens, and then from there, you guys have to decide if you just want to adopt, which is a viable solution, or what your next steps will be. Maybe you'll get a surrogate, or maybe, there's so many other options. But not everybody's financially capable of having these options. Not everybody can freeze their eggs or, get a surrogate or any of that stuff. So you have to work within your means. I mean, adoption is a viable case. Being a foster parent, another viable case. So these are just things that I wanted to talk. I don't feel like anybody talks about this stuff. Like, someone has a miscarriage and you're like, oh my God, and it's like, if you know somebody that did, they can talk to you, but it's so personal. And I had to call a crisis hotline. I highly recommend it. Just look up miscarriage crisis hotline. And there's so many numbers that you can call where people will talk to you. And there's groups that you can join that are virtual, that you can talk to somebody who also had a miscarriage that can help guide you through it. And nobody wants to talk about it, but like, sometimes it's your eggs are too old. I hate to hear that, but it's true, supposedly. Sometimes it's there was something wrong with the baby and you don't know what it was, but your body did. And then it rejected it's a horrible thing to say. All of these things are horrible. There's no positive thing about a miscarriage. Everyone always says it though. Well, maybe there was something wrong with the baby, or maybe God has a better plan for you, or, maybe your eggs are too old, or, maybe it wasn't the right time, or maybe you did something, or you ate shellfish, or blah, 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 blah. Nothing anybody tells you is going to ease the pain or make you feel better. Sometimes I wish people would just shut the fuck up. You know what I mean? And I'm being honest right here, So if you're with me, then you're with me. Like, you get it. If you're watching this video and you're like, right? Don't you just wish they would just shut? Yeah, shut up. Just shut up. Shut up. Shut up. Let me talk, or leave me alone, or let me cry, or let me deal with my feelings, or get a journal. Write everything down. Let it out. Let it out. Get a journal. Let it out. If you do continue trying and you do have a baby, that's your miracle baby. You're going to love and protect and worship that baby to make up for the loss. You'll never forget the loss. Some people say there will always be one missing. Like, you never forget it, but let it out, because if you hold it in, it's just going to cause more pain, and it's going to make it, they say that it makes it more difficult to have a child when you're stressed and under duress and all that. So it's really important to let it out. But the most important thing is for couples to communicate together, and to go through it together. There has to be a lot of physical touch, because you two got together through physical touch to create this life. And now this life, for whatever reason, is no longer part of the picture. Are you going to let it break you, or are you going to build a future around the next time? Are you going to be like, blah, 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 and fight over it? And even if it was somebody's fault, because there's different reasons that people have this, are you going to play the blame game? Or are you going to sit down and talk about how to avoid that again in the future and then move forward? We all have choices on how we communicate and what we communicate about. But I made this video because nobody talked to me the way that I'm talking to you. And I wish people had. I wish people had told me and my ex to communicate more, to touch each other, to love each other, to talk through it. You think that's common sense, but some men close up and don't deal with their emotions. And this is a cry for help for those women who don't speak up. If that's who they are and they feel like this, to be there with them, to hold them, to touch them, to love them, to build a new dream, a new future for the next child, for the next time. You know, like, well, now this is what we're going to do. You know, we're going to get through this, blah, blah, blah. Let's go on vacation. Let's do this. Let's cope. Let's, you know, let's relax. You got to, and respect the fact that she's going to need a month or two to heal. Do not try to pressure her for sex. I don't care if you need it. She just lost a baby. Everything's messed up. If you want to have a baby, you better let all of that heal. Give it 1 to 2 months. Let it all heal, and then you can try again. Or maybe even 3 months sometimes. It's very sensitive in there. Like, you know, like, so just back off, dudes. And this is not an okay pass to cheat either. Just because she can't have sex either. She's going through it. She needs you. Do not look at it like, well, I haven't had sex in 2 months, so now, you know, there is no excuse to cheat. No excuse. I don't care if you haven't had sex in 6 months. Go jerk off. Go jerk off. Get a flesh stick. Get a sex doll. Do whatever you need to do, but don't cheat. Because it's a wrecking ball. You're wrecking your relationship. Not every woman is going to forgive you for cheating. They're not, you know? So if you have a good one, hold on to her. I'm just giving you all of the scenarios that I have thought of. Not that necessarily I went through, but that I've thought of. That could have happened after the miscarriage. But definitely start planning a new future. And sometimes people, so the woman might be like there were times where I was like, stop talking. Like, I want to hear you, but can we talk about it later? Like right now, because her brain or your brain or his brain is like thinking something else and they cannot process with the other person. Don't get offended by that. Just understand that, okay, we're going to make time to talk about it later. We'll talk about it later. But understand that, like, you cannot force a human being to process the information that you're saying when they're in duress or they're in stress. You know, so respect each other's timeline and thought processes. The most important thing, in my opinion, because my love language is physical touch, is touch. If your love language is not physical, whatever the love language is of your partner, do a lot of that at this time. If they're physical touch. If they're, you know, verbal affirmation, give them a bunch of verbal affirmations. If they're, you know, quality time, just be in the room with them and hang out with them and look at them and do whatever. If it's acts of service, bring them things and make sure that they're taken care of and that they feel loved too. And not the one, no offense, not the woman for the man because she's healing. I mean, you could do certain things, but don't push yourself so that you are in even more pain. Because sometimes we as women are always trying to please people. And in doing so, you hurt yourself even further. This is your time to heal and take it. Take it and do not be apologetic about it. Be unapologetic about what you need at this moment. If you choose to have another child and if you want to heal properly. You know, it is very, like, yes, men suffer too, but you don't feel the headaches, the stomach aches, the cramps, the bleeding, like, there's so much blood afterward. And every period after that, you're like, what? It's crazy. It's very psychologically kind of like, what the fuck? For the woman, you know? And the guy is just there to watch it. And it might be psychologically traumatizing for the guy to watch it. But it doesn't come close to what the woman is experiencing. So just be there. And women, don't forget about your men. I know you're going through a lot, but you made the baby together. And if he's a good guy and he actually loved you, he's suffering too. So, you know, be there for your partner as well. And also use the 5 love languages to give them their, you know, the love that they need and communicate. And if they don't want to communicate, just give them the space. But you guys have to make time for communicating. Like, you can't hold it in and you can't keep brushing it off. It's so important to talk about it and to let all your feelings out and to cry and to be together as a couple. It's so important. I cannot stress it enough. And I just feel that sometimes that doesn't happen. I know that there's some people out there that they're actually happy that they were bound to each other because of the child and now they're both free. So Yes, the woman is still going to suffer and whatever, but they're both will part ways for whatever reason. That's another possibility. At which point they have to go through it alone. So I would definitely call a miscarriage crisis hotline. And the miscarriage crisis hotlines are for men as well. They're not just for women. So if a man is going through it and he needs someone to talk to, they have miscarriage crisis hotlines for both sexes. So just, you know, get the help that you need. These things are free. Get the help that you need. Because no, I mean, I searched for it on my own. I was like, I need to talk to somebody. Miscarriage crisis hotline. Boom. And I found like 8 numbers and I called all of them. Because I needed it. Because my partner was just not there. Emotionally. Physically. Like just the worst. Which is why we're not together. Part of it, not all of it. I don't want to go through life with somebody who's not there with me at the most difficult times of our life. Like, you might be there physically, but emotionally and mentally and, you know, quality time, physical touch, and gifts are my love languages. I don't care about the other ones. But when we go through something emotional like this, intimacy, which is not a love language, but it's there, is important to me. Knowing that I'm not the only person feeling this way and that I'm not alone. And I'd like to hear your feelings and your thoughts and your, you know, to have somebody that just clams up and doesn't talk, that doesn't work for me. So, and I get it. Everybody deals with things differently and that's fine. But at some point, there has to be communication. You can't feel like the other person didn't care, even though you know they did. You know what I mean? So that's important. What else can I talk about? I think that's it. I think everybody's case is going to be different. There are so many loving couples out there. So many couples that go through it together. So many couples that get the therapy that they need. So many couples that are willing to make it work. So many men that are so good to their wives and women that it brings you closer. And then there's some men that just close off and act like nothing happened and go back to the routine. And it breaks you guys apart. And then they sit there wondering what happened. Well, nobody wants to invest in an emotionally disconnected human being. Like, you can get it at some points, but when it's consistent, you know, for any of you people that are emotionally disconnected, or when something happens, you brush it under the rug, you're going to need to stop, because it's not going to last forever. People aren't going to put up with it forever. Nobody wants to spend the rest of their life with somebody who does. I mean, there are some women out there that don't, but they don't care about you. They don't want to hear your problems or how you feel because they don't care about you. I'll be honest with you. I think they're just using you for comfort and for whatever they need. Because somebody who cares about you wants to know how you feel, and they want to be there for you, and they want to connect with you. And if you have a partner that's always telling you, stop crying, don't do this, you know, like, and making you feel like your emotions should not be heard, they're either using you as a sex toy if you're a girl, or a guy, because guys get used to, or they really don't care about you. They just want what they get out of the relationship for them. They're very selfish and self-centered, and they don't care about anybody but themselves and what they're getting out of the relationship. They can care less about what you're getting out of the relationship. That's my personal opinion, because people have feelings, and if you're, that's my personal, you guys can figure it out on your own. So I did want to share that with you guys. Some of these things that I'm saying, they're not my scenarios. They're other people that I've spoken to that also had miscarriages. Because I've been able to help a lot of people. You know, I do relationship coaching. So if you do have a miscarriage and you need somebody to talk to, I have like $25 per hour rate. My rate is normally $3.25 for an hour for, you know, couples therapy, or, you know, self-love or self-help therapy, or not therapy because I'm not a therapist, but coaching because I'm a coach. But for miscarriages, I have a $25, because not everybody has a lot of money, but most people have $25 an hour to let it all out and talk. A journal is priceless. You could even maybe write a book about it later on. But definitely get the help that you need. Call the crisis hotlines if you need to. Journal everything. Communicate with your partner. Love each other. Love each other more than you've ever loved each other. And hopefully that'll help bring you guys together. And it'll show you who you're with. So you'll know whether or not you want to spend the rest of your life with this person. It is an eye-opener for sure. You get to learn a lot about how people deal and how your partner deals and copes with different things. So definitely keep that in mind, but understand, regardless of if the guy is really emotional, nothing compares to what the woman is going through. It's hormonal, it's physical, it's emotional, it's everything wrapped up into one. And men tend to move on quicker than women. They can move on and keep it flowing a lot quicker than women in general. General meaning it doesn't apply to everybody. This is not a stereotypical scenario. I'm just saying in general, men tend to cope with things and move on quicker than women. A woman, it doesn't matter how many years go by, and it might be the same for a guy. It's just very, like, a woman will see a baby and she will lose her shit. She'll just lose it. She just, always like, that could have been my baby, was supposed to, like, it's just, when you carry something that's growing and you're touching it and you can feel their heartbeat and you can feel them in you and you're talking to them all day, that's your baby. And then that being, that connection is gone. It's a different type of mourning. So just understand, even if you're a friend of someone who's had a miscarriage, if they let you, hug them. Hold their hand. Be there. Let them vent. Try to take them out and teach them to relive again, if they let you. If you're a friend of someone who had a miscarriage and their partner is gone and now they're going through it by themselves, or the girl broke up, because sometimes the girl breaks up with the guy and she's like, I don't know. And then the guy is on his own and he needs someone to talk to. Be there for your friend, whether it's the guy or the girl. It's so important, and so many people just brush it under the rug or hide it or don't want to talk about it, or, and it's not good. It's not healthy. Please talk about it. But I'm going to go now. I shared a lot of information, which I don't like to do with videos like this, but it needed to be said, and there's somebody out there that needs to hear this. And please seek the help you need. Talk to the people you need to talk to. Don't hold it all in. It won't destroy you, but it'll just make you reaching the potential that you have more difficult, or you getting to the next level of your life more difficult. It'll detain it, procrastinate it, just learn through it, go through it at your own pace, however you'd like to, if this makes any sense. If you have gone through a miscarriage, I am so sorry for your loss. There are no words that anyone can tell you to make it better. But if you do work on moving forward and finding purpose in your life, you'll do that. You'll move forward and you'll find purpose. But I'm very sorry for your loss. Unbelievably sorry for your loss. That's all I wanted to say.